You always, looked like the quintessential, like, blonde American. You were a matinee idol. I mean, you really, like, I'm sure you had a lot of wet panties thrown at you on the stage.
Thrown at me on stage, yeah.
And
Thrown at me lots of
Daryl,
places.
when they throw them on stage, I think it's indication that they want to participate in panty throwing even when the show is over. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Do you miss that?
No,
Really?
no, I actually don't.
I
I have matured, Bill. I don't miss it, man.
First of all, I reject the notion.
Of maturity.
In general, yes. But I reject the notion that you were implying that maturity is somehow synonymous with
With abstinence or backing off or whatever.
or monogamy or marriage.
Actually, I totally agree with you. But,
oh, good.
But in my maturity, I have altered my thinking about it all. I guess that's the best way to put it. But anyway, hey, man, I'm...
No, I think what the truth is, when you're a rock star, you just get so much pussy that, unlike the mortal men of the world, like it actually is.
anything becomes workaday, man. I mean, that sounds fucked up, but it's true. I mean, at a certain point, I don't know, man. I went through a lot of things. I went through that phase of my life, and now I'm in another phase of my life.
Yeah, and by the way, this is what almost everybody does.
Yeah,
and certainly rock stars. A lot of the rock stars I know, who their heyday, my heyday, they're among the most devoted. Like Joe Walsh is a friend of mine.
Yeah, I know Joe very well.
Of course, I'm sure you do, and could not be more crazy in love.
Yeah,
those two.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I would recommend to everybody to get a lot of rock star pussy when you're young.
Amen. But I had a bad, I don't know how you put it. I was dealt bad cards because I had a wife, and then she unfortunately passed away. So I'm an alone guy.
Your wife passed? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know how I avoided knowing that.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well. But aren't you Jewish? Didn't you convert?
I converted back when I was a young kid. I had a Jewish girlfriend, Jewish wife, and that was part of the whole thing back in those days. So yes, more or less I am. There's a tree in Israel that's Daniel Daryl. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the thing that I remember reading about you that I thought was so interesting, because you so don't look like a Jew.
Well,
you were like in the band, you were like, there was one who was like, more ethnic looking, and then there was the all-American.
I hear you.
No,
I grew up way into the Methodist world, in the church world.
Methodist.
Yeah.
No, I know all those Protestant denominations. I can name them: Baptist, Methodist, Episcopalian. I can't tell you the difference. What, like Methodist? Are they they seem like the most hard ass?
No, actually, they were the most liberal of all the ones that I knew. Yeah.
See,
I mean, I grew up in a very like racially integrated church, and there was a lot of. It was very progressive. I got preachers in my family, and they're all very they're on the opposite of the holy roller side. They're progressives. They went down back in the 80s. They went to Nicaragua and shit like that. It's like.
But that's why I said Amish. That part of the country, Quakers, like Pennsylvania, is known for that kind of progressive thing. At the dawn of our country in 1776, there was an Abolition Society in America. It had 24 members. 24 people in 1776 thought abolition was a good idea. For those of us who are despairing about the future, things can change, and they were Quakers, of course.
Yeah.
The Quakers were like...
No, the Philadelphia people.
Philadelphia people, right. And that's kind of why it's the city of brotherly love, right?
It was named for a reason.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And it kind of retains
There's a
that
vibe there that's
spirit.
and that's how I grew up there. It's and part of what I do in my music. What is that?
That's a clove cigarette.
Yeah, I'll take one.
No, it's a fucking joint. I don't
No,
know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't smoke no pot.
Okay. So if you really thought it was a clove, you were gonna take. Did you used to?
Yeah, but I don't.
Right. You matured.
Well, I don't want my heart to explode.
Well, you think this will make your heart explode?
Probably because I haven't been smoking any for a long time.
But you must admit this is among drugs one of the more gentle on your.
Well, you know, the truth is, I didn't really do a lot of drugs, even in the day. I never really, you know, I made me nervous. All that shit made me nervous. I mean, I used to smoke pot. That's about it.
But that's probably because your voice was your.
It wasn't my voice. It was my nervous system.
Well, then it was just a good beneficiary for your voice because voices in rock suffer greatly from drug use. I mean, you think about something like Harry Nilsson.
Oh, well.
What?
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm
But
hearing you.
Like the vocal on things like, what was that hit he had? Without, Can't Live. If
Live away with that.
Yes, you'd be good on that one.
Yeah, I did that song once.
You did?
I did it for a Japanese something. They wanted me to do it, so I did this.
You got to really have the chops to sing that.
That's a high.
Could I get a copy of you singing that? Is that
somewhere in Japan? Yes. Somewhere in the,
book me on Japan.
Anywhere in there, man.
To Tokyo. I'm going to track this down. Like
check it out, man.
Colombo. Okay, but but all the partying and the coke. He was not out of his 20s, I think, when he had ruined his instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a funny thing, man. The vocal cords are really strange.
Right.
No one really knows how they work or why they work for singers as opposed to regular people.
Right.
Yeah. It's a very, very strange thing.
It is a strange thing. Why? I always thought it had more to do with the ear because.
No, it has to do with. I talked to. There's what's his name, man? What's the matter with in Boston? He's a famous.
Bill Russell?
No. He's a what do they call it? He deals with the throat. He deals with everything from throat cancer to just throat
a doctor.
Problem. Yeah, he's a doctor, and he's the foremost guy, and he said that the whole idea of the way vocal cords vibrate, like you go, no one knows how you do that, how that works, why that happens, how you can do that. Some people can do that, some people can't do that.
But what we do know is that when you abuse something in your
it fucks up.
Of course. It's
like a muscle.
Really sound good at your age.
Well,
which is really a good feat because if you hadn't taken care of yourself for whatever reason,
man.
You wouldn't be there because I mean, I definitely can hear it in some of the idols of my youth. I mean, there's just no getting around it.
I mean, there's maturity. Your voice matures, but then there's your voice goes to fucking hell.
Right. Like Frank Sinatra sounds very different. I like it better. I'm not a fan of early Sinatra.
Older Frank is better.
I agree.
He's mellowed.
It's richer.
I'd like to believe that that's what's happening to me. I mean, that's.
It is. It's a little lower, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
It's like in his song, like wine and fine old kegs.
Yeah, go there.
From the dregs.
He sounds like like he lived it, man.
And that's one reason why he's such a great artist. I mean, people can have different opinions of his politics, his personal life. He certainly was a controversial guy, but no one can argue with the artistry.
No, you have to separate that from the personality, for sure.
So even though you're in the rock era, you can appreciate a Sinatra, and did you always?
I mean, I'm classically trained. I mean, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I went to music school, and my mother was a vocal teacher, and family were singers, and the whole thing.
So, like Frank Sinatra is somebody who's in the pantheon for you.
Well, he's part of it, yeah. I mean, he's part of my musical history for sure.
I mean, I'm not pushing Frank Sinatra.
No.
I'm just saying I'm also a fan, and I'm a fan of very little before the rock era because that's when I came up. And of course, first of all, kids want to rebel against whatever their parents are into.
Yeah, yeah.
And so my father's era was big band, Benny Goodman and band singers, and that's Sinatra.
Yeah.
You know,
I kind of like, my mom was in a band, right? And she was in kind of like I mean, she's 99. She can still sing, right?
whoa,
But
that's good for you.
yeah, but she was in kind of like what I'll call a Lawrence Welky kind of band, like the little of everything. But I grew up, my first memories were sitting there at 2 years old or whatever, sitting in the audience watching the band and watching my mother and do all that shit. So I mean that's literally my earliest memories is seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
But
That to me, that is a compliment for a singer to get from my record collection to have anything pre 1968.
yeah,
But he had some in the 60s. It's funny, people think that when the Beatles and rock came along, Frank Sinatra went away or that he wasn't relevant or he wasn't selling records. That's not true. He had a 60s sound. He somehow found a way.
well, he had his own tribe. Those guys had their own tribe. They did go away in the pop world, but they had their own tribe.
No. That's what I'm saying. He did not go away in the pop world. He had big hits.
Well, no, that's true. He had his hits.
He had
Stranger Than the Night and all that
Strangers in the Night.
Right.
This town.
No.
And I've been a puppet, a pauper, that one. The summer wind. And, he found a way to
He did.
be still Frank Sinatra.
And work within it.
Yeah, but they put a drum on it more. There was an organ.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how they changed the production after Nelson Riddle, and then they went into, they tried to do that. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
By the way, same thing with Barbra Streisand.
Oh yeah.
Put out some amazing, she told me, she said Richard Perry, the great producer, I'm sure turned me into a rock star. And they made in the early 70s.
Yeah.
And again, she did it because she's such an amazing artist perfectly, where she didn't lose who she was, but now I can also do this and get this crowd.
It's really interesting to have people who can cross over the transition. When they're faced with this shift, and they're in that world, and how they can somehow adapt to it and actually prevail. I mean, I'm sort of doing that myself, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have a partner. So it's a little different than.
I don't have a partner.
You
think John Oates is my partner?
You still tour together, don't you?
Yeah, but he's not my partner.
Well,
he's my business partner.
Look what I've stumbled into here.
He's not my creative partner.
Okay, I'm not trying to. I was just saying, I know that you guys still tour and put out records. So to me, that's a partner. I mean, it's like
we don't put out records.
When was the last record you put out with?
And I think it was 10 years ago.
That's fairly. Let's see, I'm 66, Daryl. So that's like yesterday to me. I understand for the kids, that's not. But to me, that's fairly recent. It's 21st century.
John and I are brothers, right? But we are not creative brothers. We are business partners. We did a lot of stuff. We made records called Hall & Oates together, but we've always been very separate, and it's a really important thing for me.
Well, but you certainly weren't separate on the records, and and were you separate creating them? No.
We were separate on the records too.
What does that mean? I'm not hearing the harmony. I'm not hearing what I love about
you. Know that song "Kiss on My List"?
Of course.
I did all those. That's all me.
Well,
that's all me on those harmonies. That's me. That's just a Daryl demo.
But that's not the rule, is it, with the band?
I won't go any farther than that.
Okay, let me ask you. But see, you're bursting my bubbles here. Which
that's my job to burst bubbles, man.
Good. I like honesty. I don't know. See, I don't know. I stopped when I was 14. I could tell you what actually was every song on what survey and what number. Then I, of course, grew up. I matured in my way. So, like, the things I know, I don't know if they were hits. Like, one of my all-time favorite records, not just of yours, but of all time, Romeo is Bleeding.
Oh, man, thank you.
Was that a hit? Was that a single?
No, it was not a hit.
Really? I don't even know where I
I
first
love
heard
that song so much.
so much.
I
It is in every playlist I ever
we
have.
just put it out in England as like as a single. I don't even know what we called it. But anyway, we re-released that album,
Oh,
and that song I listened to it
it
because I hadn't
is
heard that song in years, and I
so
was like,
great.
whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh,
Okay,
and it's loud.
yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but when it's on my
You know who that made that record? Me and Dave Stewart.
Hmm.
That's not John. That's me and Dave Stewart.
Oh, John is not on that?
No,
Oh,
it's a Hall and Oates record, but that doesn't mean anything.
okay. What about Throw the Roses Away?
That's me.
Okay. Right. Now, was that a hit or was that just another one of mine that's another,
I
that's
love
another
Bill.
amazing record.
Bill, you're pulling out stuff that I really care about. This is
Well, I mean, as much as I love talking to you here,
Throw the
I could just
roses
listen to
away.
Romeo is Bleeding
I know.
all day long.
That song, man, and the lyrics. I was like, whoa, what was I talking about?
I tell you a funny story. Clive Davis, who I got to be quite friendly with. He's a wonderful guy. You must
I've known
know.
Clive forever.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
I'm sure Clive is somewhere right now telling people that he got you started because, as we know, Clive started everybody. And actually,
I told Clive
he
one
did
time-
start so many people. It's almost not an exaggeration.
He started a lot of people.
Yes, he really did, and coached him. Anyway, so we did this show years ago called Iconoclasts. I don't remember what it was on, but they would take two people who were of different fields, and they would film us together for a day or two at some of our haunts that we went to in our life, you know. So Clive and I did it, and I got to be pretty good friends with him and loved him. And I told him, you know, you're the man with the golden ears. I could send you 20 songs that are in my iPod that are just amazing songs that, to my knowledge, were never singles, or if they were, they didn't go anywhere. And I sent it to him. I'm sure Romeo was, I don't remember, this was 12 years ago, but I'm sure that song would be like number one if I didn't think other people knew that song. And I said, I'm going to send this to you. What do you think? So I send him this disc. This is back when we had discs. I get a letter. I treasure this letter. It's like, because you could tell he dictated it because he kept coming back and saying the same thing. But he was so kind. He was like, I've listened to your records, the songs you picked. They're interesting songs. I listened to it twice. Once when I was in a hot tub in Mexico looking out of the ocean. Another time when I was back in New York. So he put the time in to listen to it twice. I must say, these are not hit records. These are, you know, and he was
But see, that's the problem with Clive.
He was very nicely saying, you don't know what you're doing or what.
And he's full of shit.
Well,
he's full of shit, Bill.
I think so.
Do you want
it's
my
so subjective.
anecdote?
Why do somebody like a song and somebody not like a song? It's completely. You can't even.
It's subjective.
Can't put your finger on it.
He sat me in a room one time, and he started because we did a record called Change of Season, and we were finishing the record, and he says, "Well, you know," it's just like that. He was, "You know, there's no hits on this record. No hits on this record." And he says, I have some ideas. And I'm like, it's just me and Tommy fucking Mottola and Alan Grubman, the lawyer that, no.
Tommy Mottola was the head of what record?
He was my manager, and he was he wound up being the head
Isn't that Mariah Carey?
Yeah.
Oh, husband, okay.
He jilted me for Mariah. But anyway, so Clive is there, and he says, I got these ideas. I have these ideas. They're hits. They'll be amazing hits for you. And he played me these two songs. One of them, and I can't remember what the second one was named, but the first one he played was a song called "Love on a Rooftop." It was the biggest piece of shit I've ever heard in my life. Anyway,
Love on a Rooftop.
Love on a Rooftop.
Wasn't there a song?
Yes,
a real song.
I think Cher cut it.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Up on the Roof.
No, that's a completely different song.
Right, and that's a good one, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that Carole King? Up on the Roof?
Carole King might have written that.
I think,
it's certainly her era.
Right.
Right. But anyway, so he's playing me these songs, and I said, Clyde, and I literally walked out of the meeting. I said, Clyde, I could shit better songs than this. I'm sorry, man. I literally said that to him. And I love Clyde, but I had that kind of relationship with him.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would love to send you this tape. I bet you I could find the playlist somewhere in the archives, and I would love to
I'd
see
be
what
curious to hear. Would you?
I would love to hear you. Like, I remember there's a Don Henley song on it that's from the soundtrack to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, called "Love Rules."
Okay.
Again, they're not songs that people know.
Well, you
Oh,
picked two of mine that
all
I
right,
really.
here's the other one that I play endlessly. It's not your song, but you are the voice on it. Well, certainly the harmonizing voice. The only flame in town.
Oh,
Am I
yeah,
wrong?
yeah.
Oh, how great is that song?
That's a great song.
Now that was
Elvis.
Costello.
He called.
Just,
He called
just
me
said,
up.
"I need the
He
voice."
said, "You want to do a song with me?"
Wow.
And I did it. And the song was great. And
So how does that work? Do they send you like a tape to get used to what the song is because it's new? How
yeah,
can
he
you
sent me-
sing a song if you don't know what the song?
he just sent me he sent me
A demo.
a demo.
So do you listen to that and you get
And
the
I
song?
just sang my harmony to it. Yeah.
You get the song in your head.
Yeah.
So you
Doesn't take much.
no?
No.
Okay, and he knew what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just one day.
Yeah. That was it.
Well,
and then
that's another.
that was
Genius.
that was a departure for Elvis. That was that was interesting.
Everything is a departure for Elvis.
Well, that's true.
That's
Which I admire in him.
Me too. And when I say admire, what I mean is also throw out some CDs because
Yeah.
he did one that
You never know.
the Juliet something, and it was like string quartets, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
he
you know
goes in
what?
directions. Yeah.
Well, and that's great as an artist. But
No, I
as
do
a
that too,
fan-
but I try I try and
yeah, I don't think you.
directions I go in aren't too.
No, I mean you can't lead people down a certain path and then without even telling them. I remember Prince once put out a jazz album, and he didn't tell me.
Yeah, tell you.
No, so like.
So you bought it,
I
right?
bought it, and it wound up with the Elvis Costello one that is like a string quartet. If you bought a Beatles album and it was all Revolution Number 9, you'd be pissed.
It was like Spinal Tap's Jazz Odyssey, man.
Right. Brought to you by SignalWire, the real OGs of software-defined telecom. The original geeks at SignalWire are the developers of the #1 open-source communications platform in the world, powering everything from cloud phone systems for Netflix and Amazon to awesome products like Ring Doorbell. And now they've created an easy-to-use cloud platform that puts the power of that technology into the hands of anyone with an idea. Whether it's voice, messaging, or cutting-edge broadcast quality video, if it has to do with real-time communications, SignalWire is the answer. With SignalWire, you can customize the user experience and integrate with an existing application or website with ease. SignalWire's ultra-low latency is essential for creating experiences where real-time really matters. Whether you're a developer, product builder, or just someone with a cool idea, SignalWire offers APIs, SDKs, and even copy and paste code snippets to help you make your vision a reality fast. Build with the real OGs of software-defined telecom. Visit signalwire.com/random to sign up for a free account. Go to signalwire.com/random and build what's next in real-time communications. Go to signalwire.com/random. Club Random is supported by ShipStation. If you're an online business, being prepared is key. Getting ready early for the busy shipping season ahead of time is a lot less stressful than trying to catch up while you're overwhelmed. The best time to prepare for growth is before the opportunity arrives, especially for online businesses. ShipStation sets you up for growth by directly integrating with every shopping cart and storefront. So your products are easier to find, easier to manage, and easier to get into the hands of happy customers. Don't wait until you're drowning in orders to find the right shipping solution. Upgrade to ShipStation today. Whether you're starting small or scaling up, ShipStation makes ship happen. No more limiting your business to one store. ShipStation integrates with every platform, including Amazon, Etsy, eBay, and Shopify, making it easy to manage all your shipping from one simple dashboard. Join over 130,000 companies who have grown their e-commerce businesses with ShipStation. Ship more and grow more with ShipStation. Go to ShipStation.com today and sign up with promo code RANDOM for a free 60-day trial. Start today and get set up before the biggest shipping season of the year. That's 2 months free. Visit ShipStation.com, click the microphone at the top, and type in code RANDOM. Hey, I'm going to be at Madison Square Garden on November 12th at the Hulu Theater. Bring the kids. Not to the show itself. Please, leave them outside. But the show you're going to love as adults. I'm a little upset about you and your partner. I mean, you're not partner. That other guy, I can't even remember his name.
Yeah.
But I'm a little, because you have to understand, fans, we get emotionally involved with what we hate even more than...
It's the brand. It's the brand you want to see.
No,
Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
We want to see the people we like each other. It's like
Oh, I do like John.
It's
no. We're not
good.
acrimonious in any way. No. We're friends.
Okay.
We just have different directions, and have had since about 1975.
But, well, that's coming up on 50 years of pissing each other off.
We had a couple good years. We had a few good years.
I mean, look, there is going to be a time, let me predict, there will be a time when you guys, something will scare you, and you will realize, oh, fuck, this guy, before it ends, we need to
The Sunshine Boys.
Just like realize that, for whatever reason, you were there for this part of your life that very few people get to.
You mean like 50 years?
Very few people get to experience.
No.
You know,
John and I have a long history together, and we are brothers. We really are. And I will never, ever negate that. But we are very separate. We really are.
But there is something about great success. It's fantastic.
Great success is fucking happening. Yes, I agree.
It's the fact that people are so...
Like you.
The fact that people are so ambivalent sometimes about success. I'm like, what?
Oh, no, not me.
Right. No, I think that's a measure of your sanity. If you're happy with success, you're sane. If you somehow are sabotaging it or feel terribly guilty, I mean, there's a lot of crazy guilt in America about stuff, I didn't do it.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, man, where people, they do self-sabotage.
They do.
There's a lot of that.
Oh, especially in show business.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it is addiction and they can't help it. Some of it, I think, is that kind of adulation is so overwhelming that, yes, it's great, but it's also like, if you were being tickled or something, yes, I'm laughing, but you got to make it stop. It's too much. It's too brain overload. So as much as it's stimulating, even that can be too much. I'm guessing. I'm not a rock star. I was hoping for this my whole life, but it never happened.
It's like you try and I guess the best word is you have all this stuff happening and you want to kind of regulate it and get it to a place that is fulfilling.
Were you married at the time that you were at, like, the biggest act in the country?
I was with Sarah Allen. Sarah Allen.
Right.
Yeah.
So was it hard to be faithful?
It was impossible.
Impossible. That really puts the capstone on this discussion. That says it all. All my words, blah, blah, blah. It's impossible. Remember that song?
It's impossible.
Tell a baby not to cry. It's just impossible. Who sang it?
I don't fucking know.
I believe it was Perry Como.
That's probably right. I think of Steve Martin. It's impossible to stick like a drumstick up your nose or whatever.
Oh, he did
what he used to say.
Did he a parody of that? Steve Martin?
Yeah, he used to do some parody of. That's all I can think of.
Elvis sang.
You notice what I'm doing here? I'm drinking the fucking Green Spot. You should try this.
I can't
I know
mix
you're
them.
half Irish, man, because
What is that?
this is Irish. This is the best Irish whiskey in the
I
world, man.
can't mix. Daryl, I can't mix liquor. I'm not 16.
What are you drinking?
It's tequila.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm
Well, try this sometime. This is great.
Oh, I will.
It's
Are you leaving it here?
I'll leave it here.
No, don't.
No, man, I'll add it to your bar, man.
Did you bring this?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, we would have gotten it for you.
No, I asked for it.
Oh, good.
You guys got it.
Oh, okay, good. I want you to be happy when you're here at Club Random. I'm very excited. Been excited for
I'm a
weeks
happy
that
guy.
you were. Yeah, you should. This life that it was impossible. Well, that's yeah. I guess people who don't have that kind of temptation also don't have that problem.
You know, I got to say, she probably never hear this, although she might. But you know, Sarah Allen was the most understanding human being on earth.
Really.
On earth, because she went through this with me, and she was. Well, excuse me. Okay, you want to talk about Sarah Allen? Sarah Allen wrote more songs with me than John. Right?
Wrote the lyrics?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
more than the lyrics. Yeah. Sarah and her sister, Jana.
Wow. They were musicians, or they were just good at it?
Sarah's a writer. I mean, you know, a lyricist, and Jana was a musician as well, her younger sister. We wrote Private Eyes, Kiss of My List.
Wow.
You name it. And
So that's the love of your life?
In some crazy way, yes, it is. I mean, I had an interim, but I was married for quite a long time, and she died. I told you.
Yeah.
And she was the love of my life. I don't know. The love of your life. I don't know. I had a couple loves in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just one.
No, I mean, having never gotten married, people say sometimes that question, what's the
It's
love?
weird because I was with people all the time, and now I'm totally alone. I mean, I'm and not dissatisfied with that idea.
Right. Well, I think the older you get, the more set in your ways you get, which is not necessarily a bad thing. That doesn't mean you can't be flexible when you want to be, but you just know, you know what it is? You know what you like. When you're younger, you don't always know what you like, and
or what you bump into it,
right,
and what happens. It's like
no,
circumstance.
I mean, would I like to be 25 again? Yes, but I absolutely would not take the deal if I had to be in that idiot's head. You know what I mean?
No.
Right.
Oh, like Socrates, if the freed of the demon of the sex and all that. But no. I would. I don't know if I'd want to be young. I got kids. I got stepkids, and I love them. But I wouldn't want to be that age.
I can't. No. Only if I could have this head, but I can't.
No, that's the thing. You can't. You can't do it.
And if I literally could go back in time and live again, assuming it wouldn't be the exact same life, but I would be young again, I wouldn't trust that some of the stupid things I did this time around would get me killed or put in jail or just dumb fucking things I did.
Well, I got to tell you, I'd probably be in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, seriously.
Right.
Probably you too.
Yeah, because I was, selling pot and stuff when I was in college, and New York had draconian drug laws, and I could be just getting out of jail now, just for dealing pot in 1977.
Outrageous, isn't it?
Well, it's what it is. It's there, but for the grace of God go I kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or sliding doors. Remember you ever see that movie where it's kind of an interesting subject. I'm sure that's not the first time people have broached it, but somebody is running for a subway and the sliding doors in one life.
Oh yeah, it's like you go this way or you go that way.
Right.
Millisecond, and your life changes.
Yeah.
Which I actually believe. I think maybe we go maybe we go all those directions.
Right. But there's also something to be said for, I mean, I don't know how many number one hits you guys have, you and this other guy, I can't remember his name, but you're
that guy.
But that's numbers show something isn't a fluke. Anybody can like have any rocket can go up in show business. but a lot of them come down fairly soon. Nobody has, I don't know what you have, 20 giant hits or something. Nobody has a whole
I think it's like 30. I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, well, numbers don't matter. Exactly.
I really don't know.
20, 30, 50, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, when you go to a concert, if the band can do the whole show, nothing but hits, that's a concert. Okay?
When I do a Hall & Oates show, we can't do all of our hits. We have to, because we,
Right. Well,
because I don't like
right.
to. I'm not Springsteen. I don't do 3-hour shows.
Right.
But you know,
right.
you know.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, it's an amazing.
Right. And by the way, neither can Billy Joel, and neither can Elton John, and neither can Paul McCartney.
This is the world that
and neither can the Eagles. But it's a small club. I would call it. Let's call it the Arena Club. The people who can get
well, I'm in arenas, yeah, but those guys are in the stadiums.
It doesn't matter, but whatever.
You're
in the club. I'm talking about the number of.
It's that.
Can you?
The air is rare. The air is rare, man.
You know, the air is rare. I mean, the Stones, everybody complains, oh, it's going to be the same playlist. Yes, because that's what you demand. You think they want the same playlist? They would.
The last thing they want to do is that.
Of course.
And that's sort of
and then they get blamed for it.
That's why I'm sort of doing what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a whole alternative tour. I've been doing it. I did 30 shows this year, and I'm going to continue to do it. And it's songs, quote, Hall & Oates shows, songs, but it's also my other stuff that I've been doing over the years. My other albums, my solo stuff.
I mean, you earned it.
Hey.
You earned it. You deserve it. Right.
Hey,
you deserve a victory lap. And there's plenty of people who will love to see that. I would love to see that.
Well,
yeah, because first of all, it's kind of helpful to my psyche because I don't look back. Like, I only want to think about the future because there is the past doesn't exist. I remember it, but I don't understand these people who are consoled by, oh, wasn't that great? Yeah, it was, but it's not happening now.
No,
unless it's happening tomorrow.
It's different.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that is one great thing about music is it just doesn't ever fail. You can listen to a song for 50 years. Now, maybe you shouldn't listen to it every day, but it can just keep coming up over and over. Whereas
it's a funny thing. It's not unlike in other art forms.
I can watch a movie maybe
a couple times,
3 or 4 times.
How many times
over
can you watch The Godfather? Right,
right, over 25 years.
Yeah.
But not like I could hear. I'm telling you, I could hear the ones I've mentioned almost every day, and I do hear them. Like really, certainly not a month goes by when they don't play.
Yeah,
and they're always good.
I know, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah,
it really is. Really is an amazing thing. I just just to throw this out, I just found a box. It's about this big, and it's all my. The way I write with cassette tapes, or have done since about 1972 or 70 or whatever the fuck, And
you mean you sing into it because it's
I get an idea,
right, and you just want to preserve it without
record play, right?
Instead of writing it down like
no, and
Mozart.
then I log it, right? Then I log it. Well, I've just found hundreds of those tapes of all my career, of all my ideas.
Wow.
All my ideas.
You didn't know they existed?
I knew they existed, but I didn't know where they were.
Japan.
And I found them. I fucking found them. I have hundreds and thousands of ideas. Thousands of ideas.
From your youth?
From my entire life up until the present.
That's funny. I have a similar thing, except I've known where this stuff was all along. I didn't discover it. But I've salted away so much stuff because I'm kind of a squirrel that way, jokes and ideas and things. And sometimes I will go back into that treasure trove and something will be awesome. And I always say, thank you, younger me. You left me this treasure that I found 30 years later.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah, it's great.
And I've been listening to, I have my guy that's been archiving it, and I listen to it, I go, listen to this guy. It's like, thank you, younger me. Exactly, that's perfect.
You should write a song called Thank You, Younger Me. It's not a bad title.
Hey.
Titles are important, right?
They are indeed.
Isn't that a big thing of, you
well, yeah.
You got to get the Yeah.
It's all about
Something to hook
it's the
people.
hook. It's the hook. It's
Yeah.
what it's provocative, you know.
Right. And it sums, sometimes it can sum something up. I mean, obviously there's many different types of songs. I'm always partial to, philosophy songs. Songs that are like in a kind of a half ironic, half real way, because they are often a little corny and a little like obvious, but I kind of
Give me
just
an example. I don't know what
oh,
you mean.
like love travels on a gravel road, like there's a million of them.
Okay.
Desperado, ones that are imparting
Yeah,
wisdom
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to the audience.
Yeah.
Every rose has a thorn. Oh, there's a line from what's the line in Romeo? Every pain is filled with
Oh,
pain and it's something
pleasure. It's someone else.
pain and pleasure. It's like
No,
every
I can't
pain.
remember.
Yeah, but it's that
Yeah,
I
yeah. Okay,
can't
I
because
got
I'm
it. I got
stoned,
it.
but it's
But
like,
that was an
but
aside in
it's,
the verse. That
yeah,
wasn't the hook, right? Right.
no, it wasn't the hook. It's
I've
no.
always thought the pain is part of pleasure for
Yes,
someone else,
yes,
hoping it would never
yeah.
cloud my
I
soul.
always thought that pain is part of pleasure.
Right,
Yes,
right.
it's a great,
Can't believe I
but
remembered
it's
that.
right. I can't believe it. But it's a philosophy, as
Yeah,
opposed
yeah.
to she loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just,
Exactly.
and there's just many, many songs like that, and they always amuse me because again, country songs are full of it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's all philosophy because of course it's dime store philosophy, but I like the fact that I'm tricked by how much I love the song, that even if I read this as poetry, I'd probably laugh at it, but in the song, I'm loving it, you know.
Yeah, lyrics and poetry are very different things.
Exactly. Yes, thank you. And they're not supposed to be the same things.
Lyrics have to sing,
Right.
literally.
And they're not supposed to and
They
they're
have to do with vowel sounds
and
and things like that.
it's an artistic expression, not a polemical expression.
Exactly.
It's not supposed to be literal or, erudite. It's emotional. Music is emotional. Yes, it can reach you. And I mean, look, there are people like, I would say Paul Simon is a guy who
Well,
wrote,
there are artists. I mean, obviously Dylan comes to mind, but
yes,
Paul Simon,
Dylan.
people, but that's a different because that is where the focus is, and the music is secondary to it. When you're dealing with melody and chords, you have to deal with vowel sounds, and when you're hitting a certain note, it has to
Right.
the sound has to go. It's an oral thing.
Yes.
It's more it's outside of poetry.
Apropos of Paul Simon, I remember, and of what you just said, I remember Simon was on Bob Costas's old show. Loved that interview show he did. I did it once in the 90s, and he was asking Simon about Mrs. Robinson, and Paul Simon said Mickey Mantle once came up to him and he said, your famous line, "Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio? Why couldn't you use me?" And Simon said,
Doesn't sound right.
he said, "Syllables, Mick, syllables."
Syllables, exactly. Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
That's
That totally
right.
my point. Right?
That's the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm so glad you're still this into you, because you just don't know about people. What their private life is like. You don't know if they're still engaged. You don't know if they're still happy. You don't know where their mind is. I mean, I've certainly run into more than a few people out here. I won't say names, but I ran into one guy at a party who I used to be quite friendly with. He's about 10 years older than me, and he was telling me how much he liked Trump, and not only that, but that Obama had ruined the country, and he did it on purpose.
And this was a musician?
No,
Oh.
no, an actor.
Oh dear.
But, yeah, I'm just saying, you just don't know who's under the hat. So
Wow.
I'm glad I got to.
That ain't me.
So what do you do all day when you're not working?
Oh, fuck. I have so many things. When I'm not working, I'm always working. Well, first of all,
Right.
I
I'm
am
the same way.
I'm always working.
Right.
But when I'm not, I've been renovating my house. I'm a big historic house renovator and all that crap. And I've been doing that. And That
So, and you say, and you're alone. You say you're not like married or
No, I'm
anything.
not married.
But what about the ladies of the world?
I have friends.
With benefits?
I have friends.
Yeah, good.
But I'm not,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
You're at,
alone. I'm alone.
you're on the stud farm, and that's where you belong.
Yeah.
You're
There
in.
you go, man.
You're the racehorse that won the Kentucky Derby,
I'm
and
just standing in the field, just
yeah, just send over a filly now and then,
let my
and
fucking rod go like that. It should only do. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
and when you travel, like, what's a place you love? Yeah, cities have a vibe too, right? Like some cities you vibe with,
I
and
love London. I've lived in
London,
London
yeah.
forever. I
Oh,
mean, I've lived in London longer than any place else.
oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Longer than New York or Philadelphia or any place.
but as an American, but you can just stay as long as you want.
Well, I go back and forth. I'm an itinerant
But you
person.
own something there.
Yeah, I have a house there.
But isn't there laws, about how long you can be in a country if you're not a citizen? I mean,
Yeah, but I've never. That's never been a problem with me because I have to work all the time. I'm never in one place long enough to be
oh,
bothered by that. I mean, my wife was English.
so
My kids are
so
English.
why you love London?
I just love it. I think it's the best city. I think it's the best city in the world.
Why? What's it?
Because it's the most diverse. It's the most interesting.
Right.
I like it's low. I like you can see the sky. I love the houses. I love the architecture. I love the people. I'm an Anglophile.
No, I am too, because I'm
Yeah.
terrible at language. So
Well,
no,
that too. But no. You know what? It's not just about the fact that they're. It's they speak English. I like it better than Paris. I like it better than the other.
oh, for
European cities.
sure.
Yeah,
Paris
I just
is
like London.
Paris is amazing to look at more than
Yeah.
any other city.
Well, like the French. It's amazing to look.
Right, but I hate the food. Uh, yeah, the people are not warm.
No, they're not.
And it's big, and if you don't speak the language, I don't know. It's just very hard to.
Yeah, it's just I'm just not I'm not a francophile.
If I had some, if I had some guide, like someone who really was, knew everything about Paris and where to go and who to hook you up with, and I could just tag along with
I
like.
did do that. I spent
Of course you did.
I spent a couple months there with Dave Stewart, my friend Dave Stewart, and he was living there, and we made a record there. We made the Three Hearts album there, and I was in Paris, and I went to these crazy places. I mean, just really
Crazy.
when I say crazy, I mean really very Parisian. Like
Right.
only would happen in Paris. And
What is that? That would
like a place called Le Roi de Portefeuille, which all they did was it was this dark room, and all they did was serve portefeuille.
What's that?
It's fucking beef stew. And no, it's stupid. That's an expression. That's an example.
Oh, wow.
Like these weird little highways and byways.
I was hoping it was going to be some Moulin Rouge.
No,
bacchanalian.
nothing like the opposite. The opposite of that.
Really?
The opposite, completely. Like real
Wow.
Parisian, like only in Paris kind of things. And
Right.
I spent a couple months there. I mean, not like a couple months means
Yeah,
nothing.
I mean,
But I did experience sort of that idea where you could be there, and I don't know.
but what about America? Don't
What
you
about it?
don't you have any love for us? Come on, you don't love any American city?
Yeah, I like Charleston.
What?
I lived
Charleston, South Carolina.
I lived in Charleston.
Oh,
li-
I played Charleston.
I lived there for quite a few years, and I like Charleston.
I have a funny story about Charleston. I was in there in like 1983, like my first year on the road as a comic. And this is the days when the comedy clubs, you had to work like 5 days. You had to work like 5 days in a row. Like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yipes.
People only came on the weekends, really. But
Of
anyway,
course.
comedy clubs were booming. So I'm staying in the little, whatever, motel they had for us. Every day I go down, and there's one copy of the New York Times, and I grab it. This is when the New York Times even went to South Carolina.
That's hard to believe, actually.
Big cities you can't get it. So, like the fifth day, I go down there and I say to the girl in the counter, wow, this is unbelievable. Every day I've gotten the last copy of the New York Times. And she said, oh, we only get one. You, you just, you buy
You got the paper.
Probably the only one who bought it in the last year and a half.
Yeah, I'm sure that the New York Times is not big in Charleston. I promise you.
No.
No.
But why are you so down on the rest of America?
Did I say I was down on the rest of America?
Well,
I just said I like Charleston.
Okay, but name what? Come on, you must like Chicago. I was just in Chicago this past weekend.
See, I only go to those places to play. I don't.
Yeah, me too. But
I don't have like a vibe for like.
No, really. Come on.
I go in and out of the city, man.
When you guys were on the, come on.
I go in, I play, I fly in, I play a show, and I fucking leave.
But wait a second. All the years that you were on tour, heavily on tour, promoting the last album, which had 4 hits on it, you were in different cities. I know what those tour schedules look like. Okay, so you're in Atlanta this night. You're 28 years old. You didn't go out after the show?
Oh, you're talking about the old days.
Yes, well, or...
Oh, no, that's different. I used to love Atlanta back in the 70s.
Well, I'm picking any city. I'm saying, which cities did you like?
Okay.
But
it depends on time. Okay.
Right.
The early and mid 70s in Atlanta were fucking whipping. Atlanta was amazing. You know that song, oh Atlanta, it's fuck. It's a famous band. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yes, I loved Atlanta. I lived out here for many years. I was involved with a woman out here, and I was I lived here, and I loved L.A. in the 70s. Again, the 70s.
Come on. L.A. in the 70s.
L.A. in the 70s. It was like a fucking cow town.
Right.
Nothing was open on Sundays. Chalet Gourmet was the only thing that was fucking open.
I used to live right across the street.
Yeah.
On Fairfax and Sunset?
Yeah.
I lived like 2 doors away.
Everybody used to go there because it was the only thing that was open.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, the 70s, I was a teenager watching L.A. on my TV and wanting to be there so bad. I thought it looked like the coolest place in the world. Johnny Carson had just moved out to California, and sunshine, and like, to me, it was just like, this was going to be the Shangri-La. And you know what? It's not Shangri-La, but it kind of didn't disappoint me. I never vibed with. I mean, I love New York. It's my home area where I grew up.
But you're a Jersey guy, right?
Yeah, Jersey. But I lived in New York twice. I get it. I have love for it. But we never vibed. This town sucked my dick on the first date. I've loved it ever since. It rained the first 3 weeks. I was here, and then the sun came out, and it kind of never went away. Well, it was always better. It's just a vibe thing.
I get it, man. I am not a fan of New York City. I live outside of New York, right, in Connecticut, right, and I go into New York to go to doctors. That's all I can relate to in New York City is go to fucking doctors. And
because you think they have the best ones?
Not even these days. I go to Stanford, Connecticut, but yeah, at least in that area. But I'm not a fan of New York.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship, and
I lived there for 20 years. But I don't.
New Yorkers all have a love-hate relationship. It's just
of course they do.
Just that when you say it out loud, they get all pissy about it. How dare you not say it's the greatest city in the world? It's the greatest for you. It doesn't have to be the greatest for me.
Exactly. It's it had its time. It's a 20th century.
No,
it's a 20th century city, and we're in the 21st century.
That's, I don't think, fair, but you know what?
Well, okay, that's my opinion.
You may be right. I have not been in New York enough to not living there. And of course, the pandemic, I'll tell you, I don't know about that statement, but I will say this. They let the pandemic do to them kind of like what the 92 riots did to LA. They always said the nightlife never really kind of came back in LA after that. Yeah. And I feel like New York, I know they got hit very hard by the pandemic.
Well, close proximity of the obvious reasons.
Well, and also they didn't make good decisions about the nursing homes.
Bad decisions.
So I understand why it was more traumatic there. But I think there's still, I mean, at some point you got to let it go. And not let it ruin all of life, because it can. And don't get me on my high horse with COVID overreaction.
Oh, no, we won't even go there.
No.
I hear you.
Good. As long as you hear me.
No, I do. I
Well,
promise you I do.
I have to wrap this up, but I could do it all night.
Oh, shit. Well,
Like I was saying to you before, you don't really know I never met you. You don't know who a person is. You've loved them from afar, and then when you meet them, it could be like, oh, this guy's sort of a dick. So I can't tell you what a relief it is.
that goes both ways, by the
I
way.
appreciate that. I kind of wish, I have a little emotional thing, a Simon and Garfunkel thing. Wish you and your boyfriend
Get over it.
We're
Get the fuck over that.
I want to see you.
shit.
I want to see you fishing together.
Club Random.
Great to meet you.
Yeah, man.
Glad you are who you are.
It's really cool.
All right.
It's really cool.
We'll do it again, I hope.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Club Random.